This is the story of the rise and fall of a Township Tale, on how the game claimed the #1 spot on the Quest, how it got 500,000 users, and why the game can now almost be called dead. So the date is January the 22nd, 2016. The game A Township Tale was officially launched into pre-alpha. From what I know at that time, the game somewhat quickly got a little bit of attention and a small but loyal community that were playing the game constantly. And at that time, the devs were still actively developing the game, putting out updates very often, and also communicating with the community. Then in 2019, A Township Tale started getting a lot more attention. That's because some big YouTubers like Josh Dub and Mully started playing the game and posted on their channel. Personally, I also started playing the game in 2019 when the Rift S came out, and I remember it was the most fun I've ever had in a game, especially a VR game. Everything from the goofy combat.
Oh my god, it looks so unfair for Timo. Here, Timo, catch!
Of the weird bugs, learning all the game mechanics, and especially meeting the people who play the game.
A friend that wants
so much more. And
say that in the 3 months the server optimization got pretty good, much content.
That footage was from the A Township Tale 20,000 Discord members anniversary video. And that was back at a time when the devs were still actively communicating with the community. Now let's get to the main part, the juicy part, the good part. Not actually the good part, but the downfall of A Township Tale. Now this may be very controversial meaning, but I would say that the downfall of A Township Tale started on July 16th, 2021, which is the day the game released on Quest. I mean, sure, you could say that this is the day the game became a lot better, a lot bigger, and it earned a lot more money, but that's the whole problem. It started earning a lot more money, which is not a bad thing, but the bad thing is that the game had two different versions, the Quest version and the PC version. So now the developers have to make one version for the Quest and one version for the PC. So they decided they were going to merge the code, which I'm pretty sure they're done with now, but we still haven't gotten any content updates. We haven't gotten any really big content updates, because before that, in the span of 1 year, they put out the forests, which is a huge procedurally generated forest. They put out the climbing tower, and they put out the combat trials, which Joel said is the most difficult thing they've ever made, because the cave code is so bad and unorganized that it was almost impossible to put something new into the caves. Now that this is understandable, that getting things developed when they have two versions of the game is gonna take longer. That is very understandable, but for them to take 3 years to put out a feature which is reviving, which is something we usually would have gotten in like the weekly updates or the every 2-week updates, that's like the kind of feature we would get in those things. That it took them 3 years to put out that seems really weird to me. And not enough with that, the features we got somewhat promised on PC, which we've also seen previews of, like housing. They made a housing preview called the Scaffolding Challenge, which was, I think, like 2-3 years ago, which that happened. And they said that, like, every few months or half year, they're gonna try to put out another housing preview, because that was their main focus at that time, getting out housing, because that's what the community really wanted. And that's just a part of where they listen to the community. And I read in like the Q&A now that housing, armor, and all of that, which are things they talk about on Altcast. If I forgot to mention, they had a podcast called Altcast where the devs were talking about things they were making, plans on different things, and their thoughts about new updates for the game and the community's ideas. So we still haven't gotten a new housing preview from what I know and what I've seen, and this is 3 years later, and they said they were gonna get us one in like 6 months. And I also think I remember Joel saying that they wanted to get housing update out within 2022 or something, like a year after the forest update, but that also hasn't happened. Obviously, I'm not making this video to make the devs seem bad. I'm just making this as a little rant as someone who's played the game for countless hours and absolutely loved the game before it got on Quest, which was when development just stopped. And in my opinion, it seems really weird that after they got an investment of $12.4 million in 2022, they haven't really made a lot of development from that we've seen. Sure, from what I read, they were gonna use the money to get more stuff and more stuff so they could speed up development, but that doesn't seem to have happened. So these last things are things I found in the Q&A, and I just want to say it's really sad that they don't know if they're gonna support mods, because like it's been a big part of a lot of servers with the Voodoo mod, and I feel really bad for the person who made it, who spent probably a few thousand hours making a mod that is just gonna be unsupported for the game because the devs doesn't want to try to like make modding support compatible, even though the modder worked around everything to try to get it to work. And also that it put housing, fishing, swimming, and craftable armor away from the roadmap or in the next features is also really sad, because this is like, we had armor before in the game and we've already gotten housing previews, so why would it not just start making that? I saw later part in the Q&A, they said something about that making big updates is really difficult because they have to make one version for the Quest, Pico, and PCVR. So I guess I was wrong about the code merge, but that'll be it for this video. Hope you guys somewhat enjoyed it, or at least can understand my thought point of this whole topic.